Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon. Sorry, getting a bit ahead of myself there. Alex Simpson and Chan Wee Han here for the Apex Racing UK iRacing World Championship team stream. We're at Suzuka today, and well, we had a little drama trying to get the Facebook live feed up. Looks like the hackers deauthorized my my XSplit account. So good to know I was involved in that. Woohoo! Thanks, Facebook. Yeah. So we'll have to deal with that afterwards. But yeah, just the YouTube stream today. So apologies for everybody that normally tunes in on that. We'll get it uploaded after the event today. So yeah, Win Chan, you've joined us first time doing the live sort of team stream. You said to me you felt a little bit nervous because it was the World Championship, but honestly, it's super casual today. First off, Suzuka F1 World Championship. What do you think we're going to see today?
Hey Alex, hey everyone. Yeah, not too sure how to feel actually. It's my first time covering team stream of this World Championship series. Of course, this week we've come to Suzuka. Because that's where pretty much one of the most legendary Asian race tracks are. And of course, the circuit like this. Tonight we're gonna have some good racing action for us ahead of us.
Yeah, drivers are just finished up really with practice, doing some practice starts and things like that right now. Also, just to touch a little bit on what was the Nürburgring. Of course, we had a bit of a horrid race there in some extent for a couple of drivers, and a good race for a couple of others as well. So Peter and Kevin, had a really good showing. Kevin with his very late little spin, costing him his 4th place, and yeah, Peter ended up in 5th. So I say good, but poor old Jamie Fluke didn't even make it to turn 1 at Nürburgring, and he managed to damage Antoine's car on the way after he got collected. So yeah, a bit unfortunate. So those drivers will be hoping to bounce back and have a good race here. Grid is available for us to bring up, so I'll just quickly run you through that. Mitchell de Jong takes the pole position with a 1:29.356, then Kroenke, his teammate, just under a 1/10 of a second behind him. Matt Backham, 3rd of the Coanda cars, in 3rd place. Then Jamie Fluke joins him on the 2nd row. There's Peter Berryman, followed by Antoine Hegelin, so Apex 4, 5 and 6. Then a couple more Coanda cars, 7th and 8th. Davy de Corps, good qualifying for him in 9th. Marcus Jensen 10th. Tommy Ostergaard, Josh Rogers in 12th. And then the rest of the grid just going on there. Kevin Ellis Jr., not the best of qualifiers for him, but still out-qualifies Gregor down in 16th. We haven't seen Gregor in 16th for a long, long time. Just 22 runners today. Pretty low turnout, I have to say. Right then. Lights are on, engines are revving. We are away here at Suzuka. It's a great start from everybody as far as I can tell. No one bogging down whatsoever. And Peter having a little look, see if he can get around the outside of Mac Backham. That's a couple of cars just losing it there. I'm not sure who that is. I think it might have been Pashalis there just in the background. It was just sliding there for a moment, but everybody seems to be running even after that turn 1 little accident there. So a much better start to the race meeting than what we saw last week at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, though quite a dramatic start to this round here nonetheless. Of course, a bit of drama back there, but we still have Peter Berryman currently sitting in P4, and the other 2 Apex Racing UK teammates in 5th and 6th. Kevin Ellis Jr. seems to have made 3 positions and he's up to P11.
I just wanted to point out, it wasn't Pashalis that had the mistake. I think it was Tommy Ostergaard that got involved in it. I knew it was one of the Coanda cars, but yeah, so it seems like it was Tommy. Yeah, our trio of drivers tucked right up behind the trio. That's not very often you see, obviously, 3 by 3 with the lineups, and it's just something you can get that's quite unique with the iRacing World Championship with obviously extra team cars out there as well. So Coanda now with a potential 7 cars on the grid as well. So pretty stacked. I know there was some talk where we had quite a few cars, but yeah, they're certainly getting up there now.
As cars make their way through the S's for the second time this race, of course, we have 51 laps more to go. This is a 53 lap race, I believe.
Correct, yeah, 53 laps today. And yeah, from what I can tell, we're looking at, I think that the early talk is possibly between a 2 and a 3 stop. The tyres do take a little bit of a pounding here. I'm just seeing on screen Kevin Ellis Jr. with a little bit of front wing damage, so I'm not quite sure where Kevin picked that up, but I know with this McLaren MP430, it's not too bad, but what it will mean is he's going to have about 6 seconds extra in the pit stop, so you're going to have to deal with that at some stage in the race. Of course, you don't get the option with iRacing to leave the wing on, which is quite a strange one because it doesn't really affect the car a great deal. Maybe a couple of Ks in the straight line speed, but through the corners it's not too bad. But yeah, poor Kev, he's going to have to take that new front wing no matter what happens. Gets a little bit of push through 130R there.
Let's look at the way he nails 130. Of course, the most famous corner of this circuit is the flat-out left-hander at high speed. Of course, it's one that will certainly knock you off if your entry is not precise.
Well, certainly in qualifying it's flat out. I'm not so sure in the race with full fuel and a couple of laps down on the tyres whether it's going to remain flat out through there. So we'll have to keep an eye, see how the guys do. We'll do some onboard laps in a moment and see. But yeah, Peter obviously up 1, got past his teammate Flike off the start. Really good start from Peter, and he's going to try and stay with the Coanda boys as they are looking strong once again. Martin wasn't able to get past his teammate, so De Jong still has a chance to win the championship, so he'll want to beat his teammate at least.
So it does look to me that we have a Coanda Apex sandwich, if you may. P1 to P3, Coanda, P7 Coanda, followed by P4 to P6 Apex with Suzuka. So that's quite an interesting positioning there. Running on board Jamie Fluk as he takes the left-hander 130, and I think he's just lifted a slight bit there to make it through the corner. Hard braking down this final chicane. Castle triangle, I believe. And he now chooses to take the outside line through the final corner.
Yeah, like I said, I would have been very surprised if they had they'd been able to do that flat out in the race as well. Just from my own personal experience, really. So biggest movers out there at the moment, obviously Ostergaard and Hapala, they were who I think got together in lap 1. We'll have a look at the start again in a moment from on board our drivers. But yeah, those guys down 7 and 6 places. Hutu up 4, Ellis up 3, so Rogers up 3 as well. Yeah, a few changes out there early on. I was hearing Dave Williams just sat behind Antoine Hegelin. His last race with the VR, I think. He's switching back to triples after this. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. See how that affects him. Again, something that you've got to get back used to. But yeah, there's a big long debate. And I know when we were at the Expo, the guys had the option of doing their hot lap challenge for the JCL competition in VR or in triples, and they did it in triples because they felt they were quicker. And well, they got first, second and third overall in that competition.
So I guess you do have a little bit of trade-off between realism and absolute speed between both options.
You see, you have some drivers that are so used to the VR now that they're just as quick in either. So I wonder actually if it's just a case of having to get used to it more than anything. But yeah, I do agree. You know, having used the Oculus myself, the immersion is just absolutely fantastic. You know, you just can't beat it. But yeah, for me, it just wasn't quite there. I still want that really, you know, I want the eye candy that you can get while running on monitors. You know, it's looking super clear and everything else like that. So next version, I think I'm definitely going to give it a blast. Hopefully that'll just bring that up to par and we can switch.
Now, if we may ride on the cockpit camera of Antoine Hegelin as he sits in P6 behind P4 and P5, and we have a look at how the three Apex cars take their line through this part of the circuit. As they now come through the spoon corner, because it is the first Apex and the second Apex that they have to nail, and doing so with the appropriate amount of speed, as this corner, we all know, is prone to spinning.
Yeah, must be some sort of disconnect with our cameras somewhere along the line, I'm afraid, because yeah, we're certainly not on the cockpit cam. Oh, Antoine having a little wiggle as he comes out of the final chicane. The track sort of dips away there, and it does make it very, very tricky indeed. So Antoine needs a good race here, really. The last 2 or 3 races, he's definitely struggled, just with luck more than anything. Just had some real unfortunate, you know, incidents that got involved in. He's had really, really good pace, and he had really good pace at Nürburgring. Still managed to almost break into the top 10 after having to pit for a couple of extra wings. And of course, the getting demoted to the very back of the field early on. Just about holding on to Jamie. Everyone's kind of that sort of 0.8 of a second apart. I think Peter has just about lost the DRS now from Max. So the top 3 just starting to stretch their legs a little bit out front.
So gap between Peter Berryman and Mac Beckham sits at, I believe, 1.7 seconds.
Yeah.
So yes, that looks like a bit too far for DRS to be activated.
Now it'll be interesting to see what the guys do on strategies here, and it's something we haven't really looked at. But what's the and you'll probably get a better look at it than I can with being that I'm doing the broadcast right now. What's the current track temperature out there? It might give us an idea if there's going to be a change in potential strategies.
Track temperatures are at 31 Celsius. Of course, the weather ambient temperature is 33. Track at 31. So I think it's a fair temperature, a good balance between hot and cold. So the grip should still be fair. Yeah,
and that, of course, will help with tyre life just a fraction as well. Although around Suzuka, they do take a pound in this first sector. Just absolutely tears the tyres apart. It's just so hot. It's just relentless. There's no let up for the tyre, and just heat just skyrockets, and that's why we see we're going to see a little bit more drop off, and I think tyre drivers struggling a little bit with the car more than what we have done in the last couple of rounds. So Kevin seems to be closing in on the back of Paschalis here, who in turn is closing on the back of Rogers. Actually, this little train is quite interesting. All tucked up behind Marcus Jensen. He's the one that leads this out. Dave Williams there, and yeah, Marcus's teammate. But yeah, Kevin really getting close, like he wants to put a move on.
Is this a left front suspension camera that I'm looking at? Or an onboard?
It is indeed.
So we have a unique view of what Kevin Ellis Jr. is having as he sits behind Paschalis Jokis, who sits in P10. So he makes his way through turn 1. Of course, the choice of flying through turn 1 is that of a sort of decreasing radius corner, entering the corner a bit faster before then decreasing the speed mid-corner. Now, so he makes his way through the S's, just having a look at how he nails the apex. Just look at the tires, the wheels bouncing, missed the curves a bit there.
what was interesting through there as well, you can see the dirty air effect in full motion because the car is definitely understeering through the S's there. So never fun. But of course, everyone in front of him has pretty much got the same issue as well. So good exit from the hairpin. That's always the problem around here as well. That hairpin, so slow speed, it's so easy just to burn the tires up coming out there, get a little bit of wheel spin, and then you know you're just basically face the same problem lap after lap after lap, where they just get worse and worse and worse and worse. I'm just going to go back and quickly, while it seems to have settled down a little bit, perhaps jump on board, watch the start of the race once again. Do it from on board with Kevin. I think you can see Ilka on the left. No, I think that's possibly Ilka, who may well have got involved. Oh, perhaps the two Orion cars almost got into each other, and that was the incident on the left that took out Ostergaard and Hapala. And then I think that's the Corps having some issues with that. Oh, and a spin, but I don't think Kevin can be blamed for that at all. Connection all over the place, I feel, for whoever that was. I'm pretty sure it was Davey. Take a little look on board from Antoine's view. See how he got off the line. Oh, absolutely phenomenal start for Pete, but Antoine definitely got bogged down. Somewhere he's going to get back past, round the outside he goes. That was David Williams. That was good from Antoine. Good hard battle, and they're still side by side. And we're back to live. Antoine just 6 tenths of a second behind his teammate as well. So yeah, three guys really just staying with each other at the moment. Looking at the lap times, there's about 2 tenths difference between the Coanda cars and the Apex ones at the moment. So that gap just slowly increasing. And the question come in from the chat, actually, from Michael. Hi, Michael. How you doing, mate? We're going to say yes, but yeah, pretty much. We feel like we've been chasing their dock for quite some time. Some tracks we've nailed ours, and some track they nailed theirs. But yeah, the last couple of weeks they definitely look really, really strong. I think the fact that all three drivers are just all at the same pace and just slowly driving away compared to what our three are doing just lets you know there's just a tiny fraction in there. But yeah, setup is so important in this car at the very, very sharp end as well. A couple of tenths here and there can be had, and that can just allow you to drive away, just like they're doing at the moment. So knowing Peter, Jamie and Antoine as we do, I feel like they absolutely have what it takes to race them on an even keel. Sorry, go on.
I have a feeling that's why, I guess that might be a reason behind iRacing making the A series a fixed one, perhaps.
Yeah, well, it's not going to affect this series too much, and honestly, I think the only reason they've made that an A is just because of just because of participation. They're just trying to pick the participation up because it's just fallen to a level that's just crazy right now. Even in this series, I mean, 22 cars out here today is crazy, you know, and they really do. They need to bring people through the car into this World Championship, otherwise this World Championship is just going to die as well. So definitely made some decisions that I can say this because we're not on iRacing Live, and it's our team stream that, that I feel that has sent it in the wrong direction, and that was certainly getting rid of the pro qualifiers through season 1, 2 and 3 and allowing the pro drivers to race in this particular series once they had their license. I mean, this really shows it. No pro drivers are allowed, and we're down to 22 cars, where had we allowed at this stage, we'd have been at the end of pretty much the end of series 3. We'd have had 20 more pro drivers that could have raced, and the grid would have still been relatively full. So Yeah, I definitely think it was a mistake to do what they did, but you've got to try these things, I guess. Hopefully they reverse their decision and switch it back and allow those pro drivers and some kind of like pro license that can be grabbed throughout the season. Kevin, he's close, but just can't quite get that run, I feel, on Gurgis. That little shift down. Needs to nail the little lockup. It's going to just drift him wide, and more importantly, the lockup means you just don't get a very good left-hander, and you can see Bash just drives away. He's able to get a better drive off the corner, even with the DRS open. Able to challenge.
Well, fortunately, iRacing does not, at the moment, does not register those tire flat spots. So I don't think it's a bit fortunate for drivers on iRacing compared to real life.
I do agree with you. It doesn't register the flat spots, but what it does do is superheat the tires. So for a few corners, the car is pretty poor, especially on a chicane. Anyone who has drove this car will know, for example, on like say the Spa bus stop, you come steaming in there and you lock the inside wheel up, you almost can't turn left through the second phase of it. It's that noticeable, and again, I think that's just a tyre model thing that hopefully will get fixed with the next version. I'm hearing a spinner. I think it's Jamie Fluke. Yeah, he's around. What happened to Jamie?
Spoon corner. Yeah, just a matter of
just slightly over the curbing, just upset the car. And what that is going to do, that is going to definitely have smoked his tyres. So perhaps he's going to need to pit or something like that for this. Where are we? What lap are we on? Oh, he's still side by side. Just about managed to retain that position. Lap 13. He's going to want to go a few more laps to get to his pit window, that's for sure. But he'll be kicking himself for that one.
Sorry.
No, going back to you, sorry.
Yeah, so this circuit takes no prisoners, as we can see by the couple of corners here, that you have to absolutely nail your apex or take your line, as I guess it's just one line through the spoon corner as well as a few others.
Yeah, pretty much. And you need to run out and use all of that curb as much as you possibly can. But if you do just go over it, sometimes it's almost like a train track. It just sort of gets the car stuck and you try and get it off, and it can just, it can just cause just some instability in the car. And I think that's probably what happened to Jamie there. He just went a fraction too far onto the Astro and just upset the balance of the car. Kind of want to, if you're going to go over, you've got to go completely over and go from and go for it that way and come back on, take the off track. Kevin as close as he's ever been to Charles here. Just can't seem to nail the exit of the chicane there. Gonna get close. And maybe that front
looks like, sorry.
I was gonna say maybe that front damage is just slowing him down enough as well to make the overtake very difficult.
He's also got some pressure coming from Gregor Hutu behind him, so he's got, I guess he's not in the best position at the moment. There's any few corners now, and I think Gregor Hutu may try to make a move on him.
Yeah, Gregor's as close as he's been as well. One thing I know about Suzuka, it is a very, very difficult track to overtake, especially if the driver ahead of you has got DRS as well, because your only real opportunity is into sort of turn one. You can perhaps have a surprise move here, but the drivers are kind of aware of that, and honestly, once the tyres go here, you're kind of braking quite early anyway. But yeah, Gregor not really having a look.
All three cars making it through spool corner nicely this time round. And of course, Kevin Ellis still being sandwiched by two fast cars in front and behind him. So he currently sits in P10 and he has just tried to hold it up as he now comes through this castle triangle hard on the brakes. And I think Gregor has closed that gap quite slightly. Into the pits he comes, and I think it might be for him to fix up his wings.
Yeah, Kevin in and Fluke in as well, so they jump in very early compared to everybody else. Let's see what that happens. Of course, like I say, Kevin's stop is going to take a little while. Going to be a long one. Of course, the graphic on the screen, you should see the difference between Fluke and Ellis, like the stationary time. So Ellis 11 seconds. I think
it's going to be a pit exit battle.
Fluke has got a speeding penalty as well. This is that was a Ricardo Orozco that Kevin was battling there. So yeah, not the stop the guys wanted, that's for sure. So it's really set them back. That was the wing damage that cost him big time. So 10 seconds stationary, so 6 seconds he lost in the pits there, Kevin. And Jamie, unfortunately, with the speeding penalty, lost a further 9. So, yep. When it goes wrong, it goes wrong.
Yeah, a little unfortunate for Jamie there, as these have now dropped to the other end of the grid. And Kevin Ellis trying to make a move on Ricardo, who's just made a move on him as they left the pits.
Yeah, he'll want to get past very, very quickly. He had the pace. He won't want to get held up at all. We're kicking himself, really. Although there's nothing he could do. It's just unfortunate. A few other drivers into the pits. Stephen Michaels, Yao Vaz, Gregor coming in as well. No, it's not Gregor, sorry.
Couple of other cars who have just taken the pits.
Yeah, it was Pashalis going in. Of course, they didn't. I don't think they realised that Kevin had the damage and things like that. So they'll come out quite considerably ahead of Kevin. I think Kevin needs to make a move this lap if he's going to. Oh, and it doesn't scares Ricardo Orozco off the road really. So yeah, Kevin comes out behind Vaz, Michaels. So both of those guys jumped him. Problem for Pashalis in the pits. He's still in there, so that's his race looking like it might be done.
Peter Berryman up in P4, still holding his ground fairly well at this point. So we are 26 minutes into the race, and he's made one position gain from where he started, and he's in the pits as well.
Yeah,
and
jumps in.
Fun.
So he's just steadily losing still. Looking at the lap times, about a couple of tenths of a second. So just can't hold on to these guys. Antoine Hegelin in at the same time. Two much better stops, 3.9 seconds. It goes right for these boys. Yep, Kevin and Jamie are going to have some work to do. But obviously get some fresh rubber, see what they can do, see how much time they can gain. I mean, 1:34.2 was the lap time. I'm hearing somebody possibly off in front of Peter. Been Ilka or Dion, I'm not really sure. They haven't quite pitted yet. Definitely a little moment, but yeah, so there was a huge drop-off in time. So with the fresh rubber now as well, and the slightly lower car, 1 or 2 laps, you know, you could see 3 seconds gained as well. So I would think it's not going to take too much longer before Coanda sort of respond, and I wonder who's going to be the first to jump within the team, or whether they're all going to come in together. No, they all continue.
The three co-ender guys are holding their ground well at this point. So it does look like they've yet to switch positions, just same as where they began.
David Williams has pitted.
Sorry. Yep. Our guys from Apex Racing UK, they're now at this other half of the pit, so they have a bit of work to do to regain their positions.
And I certainly know from sort of Peter and Antoine's point of view now, they'll definitely want to try and catch up to traffic just as it comes into pit, so it doesn't slow them down. And that's exactly what happened there. Paul Ilbrink coming into the pits. Williams was in as well, so they were able just to get by. No problems there. They weren't held up at all. We won't really know until the next lap what the kind of time difference is between our front runners as well, and what these guys are doing to see how much of an undercut they're going to get. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty sizable. Last laps for Coanda 134.2, 134.6, 134.6. So yeah, those guys are starting to separate apart a bit as well, and lap times way off where they were at the start of this race. 132.9 they were doing. So yeah, into the pits they come, all three of them, one after the other. Boom, boom, boom.
So I think they must be using similar strategies.
Yeah, it looks like everybody really is on a two-stop.
So Alex, just a question for you. Do you think because the cars here, this MP430 does not have the halo on, do you think if this car had the halo on, would the broadcast look a bit different?
Well, it certainly look a bit different. I mean, there's no talk of an updated F1 car coming, so I don't know if we're going to have to deal with that anytime soon. But yeah, maybe. And one good thing about iRacing as well is it wouldn't be like you see with the Codemasters games where they give you the option to sort of cut it out of the view a little bit, you know? You'd have to deal with it, which I think is, you know, is what we'd want to see.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Your onboards on iRacing would certainly will not be the same again. So will be a cockpit cameras. As Peter Berryman currently sits in P9, the cameras have gone to Martin Krunke as well. P6, 7, 8, a battle for P6. This looks like as Ika Hapola seems to take the inside through this straight. Neither driver having DRS to their advantage. And is this going to be a too wide? No. Ika Hapola gone up to P, or rather Mac Becker gone up to P7. So he's made that move through 131.
Yeah, now Peter will hope that Ilka is into the pit straight away so he doesn't lose any time, and Ilka continues to stay out. Ilka's so good on his tyres, he seems to be able to get these long stints in. Now, unfortunately for Peter, it's going to really, really hold him up through the S's. Fresh tyres makes absolutely massive difference through here. Pete would have been glad that he got back within the second of Backham, but unfortunately, like I say, that's going to just drift away through this sector of the track on its own. You can see the Coanda guys are literally gone. There's nothing whatsoever that Pete could do. So, yeah, and actually Ilka moves out the way in the end, doesn't want any part of it.
It's a diplomatic move by Ilka there to...
Yeah, he doesn't need to do that either. You know, there's no blue flag shown on it. That's just a bit of gentleman driving from him there, really. He knows he's on a different strategy. He'll come strong when he gets in the pits and start to close these guys back up. But, yep, so that was nice of him. Heglin's going to close in as well. So Josh Rogers into the pits, lap 21. I would think Rogers is going to try and one-stop this. Gregor Hutu out there still as well, perhaps trying to one-stop it. David de Korps maybe, Marcus Jensen still going out there as well. So definitely some alternate strategies are on play here today.
I'm not too sure, considering that the weather is, I believe, a fair balance between more grip and less grip. So I think either strategy should work out fine for the drivers, either 2 stops or 1 stop.
Now, one thing with Suzuka, actually, the pit lane is very long. So it doesn't, you know, if you can do 1 less pit stop, it does usually make some sense to try and do that. But of course, it also is very demanding on tyres. So I can see why drivers have gone for a 2. Now, of course, like De Jong, Bakum, and Kroenke are very much already closing up to the back of like Gregor and co. So I don't think they're going to gain too many places by going for that strategy. But they might gain amongst themselves because there was a couple of drivers around them on 2 stops. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But unfortunately, I think more than anything, you've got like Kevin Ellis Jr., you had Flike that was there, you had Prich. They were the guys that were on 2 stops, but they've all had problems in the pit lane. So yeah, not quite sure if we're going to actually see a direct comparison between them.
It does look like Antoine may have a bit of, I guess, issues with his grip, because he seems to be rather slidey through the corner exits.
Well, I think that's just the way Antoine drives, to be honest. Always looks a little slidey, right, getting all over the curb and everything there as well. But yeah,
I hope I haven't cursed him.
Antoine likes to dance the car around, that's for sure. He's super light on the steering wheel, lightest touch whatsoever, but so quick. Anyone saw his save that he did at Indianapolis about 3 weeks ago? It was just incredible.
Well, pretty much as we just said, that he just hopped over the curb and swished his way as he exited the curb. A little bit of a wide exit through that happened. Not too sure if it'll affect his run down that stretch leading up to the swoop. Many drivers having made their pit stops, except for, I believe, 4 more drivers up on the field who've yet to make their pit stop.
Yeah, fair play to these guys for actually making it to try this 1-stop strategy. Very, very bold. Looks like Gregor's got some damage, has he? No, it's just the way the livery's painted. I thought he had some damage. So yeah, De Jong starting to come through them. Of course, they will get held up here. So, you know, this will help the guys trying to chase him down. De Korps in between sort of De Jong and Kroenke and that now. So it's going to help somewhat to spread the field apart of just a fraction. But yeah, will Gregor let Mitchell through? I'm not really sure. I know we should be watching the boys, but this all makes a difference. Gregor just opening up the corner. He's definitely not going to make it easy. He's trying to hold him up, and of course, every little bit of time that he can hold him up here, then he's got a chance. Of course, if Gregor can stay out in front until he pits, he will, of course, gain some time with fresh rubber. Here comes De Jong, though. He's got the slipstream. And straight through. Gregor doesn't fight it this time. Gets a bit of dirt, yeah, going through 130. A bit of a twitch. But, yeah, no real problem. Actually has a little look up the inside in the chicane. I think that was more just to spot his breaking point. And into the pits he comes.
Yep,
Jensen
some
doesn't
ballsy
go
driving
through.
by Hutu. Of course, that means that perhaps he's taking a 1-stop strategy, putting this late into the race. Yeah,
definitely a 1-stop. Of course, the tyres are with the car being lighter, the tyres will be much better in the second stint as well. So they've done the hard work to get it to this point. Now they just need to, just see how the strategies pan out. They will be quick for the next sort of 10 laps or so, that they're going to have an advantage over the guys that pitted earlier. Or they're all on the same fuel load, of course. So this is the time that they need to try and build back and see if they can get track positioned. So when all the final pit stops are done, of course they will be on much older tyres and trying to sort of fight. But I have to say, the people they're probably battling is probably going to be more like sort of Steve Michaels, João Vaz, and Kevin Ellis Jr. Those are the people that are going to come back into play.
We are left with Marcus Jensen, David Ecor, as well as Luca Hapala, who's yet to make the pit.
Yeah, Jensen will probably be in this lap. He is indeed, yeah. He will have lost track position to Gregor, that's for sure. Berryman through. Davy DeCorp still out there. I think Berryman would have absolutely have hoped that DeCorp would have pitted this lap so that he can get the run, get by cleanly without being held up, but it's not happened, so definitely going to close him up. Some 2 seconds a lap faster at the moment as well, so you can see getting held up so costly. Through the Degners, not going to be the easiest place to get by. Perhaps going to have to look for a move into the hairpin. Again, that's not right on his tail.
But they are very close, Berryman and DeCorp.
Yeah, into Spoon, maybe an opportunity then. Couldn't quite do that little wiggle for DeCorp. That's going to open it up. Coming out then should be fairly straightforward, I would think, for Peter here using the slipstream. And
cedes the position to Berryman. Of course, it was a rather clean move through 130, and P4 goes to Peter Berryman. He's moved up 1 position, and now we do have David DeCorp who's sandwiched by P4 and 6, and he's gone into the pits.
I'd say Peter will be kicking himself there because he lost about 1.5 seconds just on that lap. So 2.9 seconds behind Mac at this point. Just those little things just all add up in the end. I have to say, looking at the pace that the front 3 have got out there, they're so absolutely on it today. It's going to be it's going to take a little accident or something like that to get one of our lads onto the podium, that's for sure.
Well, we still have perhaps just roughly hit the halfway point, so we still do have half of a race for our boys to make a move and try to break into the podium.
Check back in with Kevin, see how he's doing, because he's caught back up to Vaz and Michaels, of course, after his slow pit stop. Did pit a little bit earlier as well, so it's going to be difficult for him to make a move. As just for a second there, Vaz just blinking out, and then reappearing. That's really off-putting. Not what you want when a driver's just disappearing all over the shot like that. To say, back in the day when we used to have live officials, I mean, look, he's just morphing inside Kevin's car almost as well. But yeah, once we had live officials, can do that for so long, and the stewards will tell you to get out of the way. It's just not fair on the other drivers. Long as that day gone.
Bit more teleporting going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing Kevin's been behind enough to know what's going on.
So he is in a rather difficult position at the moment because David Williams just behind him is only 0.6 of a second behind. So he has to defend that position. At the same time, Kevin Ellis can't really make a firm move against Joao because of the connection issues. So he is trying to play it safe whilst in a difficult position.
Yeah, I think he'll be quite comfortable with that 0.7. Now, 0.2 of a second back going into the final chicane. He's got an opportunity at an overtake here, but it's just hard to know where he is, you know. And actually, I think he kind of bailed out of that a little bit because he just wasn't sure. It's funny as well because on the live timing, our timing event viewer that we get, it keeps saying that Vaz is crashing as well. Because it just doesn't know. I mean, like, where is he? You know? Extremely frustrating. I've been in that position as well as a driver, and you know, you kind of want to shout at the screen just to get out of the way because it's just not on.
But really top job by Kevin Ellis Jr. because he's still able to maintain his perfect racing line through, especially the S's. Despite having a car in front of him that blinks back and forth and it's all over the place. So he's able to keep his cool, keep his pace, and as long as his car is safe.
Just having a look to see what lap Dave Williams pitted on. He pitted on lap 17, so 3 laps fresher tyres than Kevin. So definitely want to try and make a move. Yeah, I'm sorry. How can you race that? You can't race that. You don't know where he is. You've got no clue. I mean, he's bouncing back and forth in front of him, behind him, to the side.
So Kevin's trying hard to make a move, but look, you can't. He's just not able to put his foot down. At the moment, I think Vaz has a ping of, I guess his ping is just a fair bit higher than drivers around him. Although his internet quality still remains fine, so I'm not too sure why it is that he's blinking back and forth. Might be a hardware issue.
Yeah, it could be. And as the chat, he probably doesn't know that he's got a dodgy connection, to be honest, that he's blinking out for everybody else, you know. Probably thinks it's absolutely fine, but yeah. Oh, he has a little moment. Kevin, get the run.
I'm just a little curious, Alex. So, if a bit of mistake by the car, David Williams behind that, taking it a bit too wide through 130. But Alex, if the car right in front of you teleports back and forth and blinks around, does that affect the airflow through your car?
I think it will do. I think when it's not there, obviously the server's not sending that he's there, so you will get clean air and then you'll get dirty air, clean air, dirty air. I'm pretty sure that is how it kind of works. That's the issue that you kind of face as well. So I'm not
Well, that's
100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure the minute the server doesn't detect them there, it doesn't send that you're following anyone. So yeah, the air will be constantly changing.
I think that will be an engineering nightmare in real life.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just to sort of confirm some of the chat that's on the YouTube as well. There's nothing really we can do about it, unfortunately. As I mentioned earlier, long as the day gone when we had live stewards that we could go and that was a little mistake. Was it a mistake or was it just a bit of a phantom wobble? I think it was a phantom wobble from Vaz. Again, even more frustrating. But yeah, there's nothing we can do now. There's no live stewards that we can say, come and get this guy out of the way. This is a joke. Because yeah, that is what it is for Kevin right now. And Kevin actually jumped into the pits. So at 31, is that enough? He's going to have a long old stint on the final one.
Cameras back to Antoine, who currently sits in P5, and he also sits behind Peter Berryman in P4. So we still have a good, I guess, footing in P4 and 5. Also,
yeah, exactly. I think Antoine will be really happy with this. You know, after the couple of races that he's had, you know, to get himself a top 5, assuming we don't commentate curse him right this second. I think that's a good result. Of course, he definitely is going to have to deal with the likes of Gregor and Marcus Jensen, I think, at some point. Certainly Gregor seems like the top of the one-stop drivers out there. So he's going to have to overtake him, I believe, on the final stint. Because like I say, this is a long old pit lane, and right now Gregor is actually lapping, well, not that lap, but he was lapping a bit quicker.
Classic Antoine there. A bit of a swishy, sliding, squiggly exit through the corner.
I see you're learning already. Yeah. That is how he likes to drive. Steve Michaels jumping in, Yao Vaz jumping in, trying to react to Kevin's pit stop. Kevin had a lot quicker pit stop, but of course he's got Paul Ilbrink ahead of him. He's going to get by on 130R, but that one lap behind could be enough to save the likes of Michaels and Vaz from being overtaken here. Let's see. Still in the pit lane. They're exiting now. This is going to be extremely close. I think, well, Vaz no, but Michaels, yes, does stay ahead.
So I think Kevin finally made... Yes, he got in front of us without actually overtaking him.
And Michaels is going to be held up by Ilka here as well, because these guys, of course, on fresh tyres, and Ilka is doing a one-stop, so that's kind of his race. So he'll want to try and hold on to this a little bit longer, Ilka, that's for sure. Maybe he's going to pit really late on and still do a two-stop, because clear to see now that that's not worked out for him at all. But it's kind of what Kevin wants, actually, because this is going to allow Kev to close back up onto the tail of Michaels. Hopefully he can follow him through and be right with the DRS, and he just needs to get by Steve. Ricardo Orozco into the pits as well.
I think we've come to the second pit window. Of course, now it's 52 minutes of the race done, so it should be 1/3 of racing left. And as we've just said that, which car is it, the red one?
That's Steve Michaels, yep.
Yeah, he just made a move I think he's the car behind him has gone inside to defend his line, but he's now up to P11, so it's a bit of a great move as right before the SS, which he has come to now. That's it. Kevin Ellis Jr. sits in P13, of course, being defended by Ilka in P12. So it is perhaps the next couple of laps where Kevin has to go for a move.
Yeah, it's important for Kev to make a move very, very quickly, like because we saw earlier on, you can easily lose a second and a half around this circuit following somebody on older tyres, Berryman into the pits as well. I'm assuming Hegelin's going to follow him. No, he doesn't. Antoine stays out for an extra lap.
The gap between Antoine and Mac are in P36 at what looks to be 12 seconds. So I think that is a bit
what I wanted to point out here that is interesting. So Peter's definitely going to have some overtaking to do right now. Marcus Jensen, 4 seconds up the road. A further 4 seconds to him is Gregor Hutu. So I'm sure he's going to have the pace advantage with the fresh rubber to catch these guys up, but he's going to have to overtake them to get the position. So, yeah, like I say, it's not a bad strategy call from those guys to go to try a one-stop because of how long this pit lane is. But of course, now they're going to have to try and hold on with the poor rubber. But this is one circuit that plays into their hands because it is difficult to overtake ground here. If I remember rightly, Gregor was around David Williams on the one stop and Williams was on a 2. Williams did have a slow pit stop, so I guess in some front wing damage, 9.4 seconds. So it's probably like 4 or 5 seconds he should be up the road. But you have to say, I can't see that Williams is going to close that deficit down in the last sort of 20 odd laps here if he pits now. So one stop, if you can manage it, I think might well have been the best course. On the numbers, that is, anyway. But, yeah, with them being tucked up behind the slightly slower traffic and lost so much time on the front runners, it's kind of kept them out of play, really, for the race win. Antoine leaving the pit lane as well. He has... Yeah, well, there's a big old gap behind him and Peter, so he slots in behind his teammate. Peter's about 6 seconds up the road right now. We did miss, unfortunately, what happened to Jamie. I think he's retired from the race.
Yeah, it does look so to me. I think he's retired 6 laps ago. He's all the way down to P19. So that leaves us with 3 Apex cars running.
Yeah, let's just see if we can see what happened.
Oh!
Oh, well, yep, that'll end it pretty quickly. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Jamie, for finding it. But, yeah.
You've exposed him.
Yeah. You'll have me for that later. So, all the Coanda guys into the pits once again and on their way out.
So it is a true stop by the Coanda guys, and we have Gregor Hutu, which is in P3, being sandwiched.
So yeah, exactly. So Gregor right in between them. So he couldn't quite get in front of Kroenke. He's gonna have to try and hold on with worn out tyres. I say it's not going to be the person who's probably not going to be best pleased with that. It's probably Mac. Because he knows he's going to have a bit of a job to get by Gregor, because Gregor is going to fight this. I say it does potentially open it up a little bit for Peter to try and catch these guys up. Maybe a podium still could be on the offing, depending on how hard these guys fight it. But of course, Peter has got to pass Marcus Jensen as well, his former teammate, just ahead of him, 1.9 seconds ahead now. So, but coming at him at about a second a lap at the moment.
A little bit of a wide exit there by Peter Berryman through the spoon, and yes, there we go. Move by Mac back up to P3, pushing Gregor to back down to P4 through the 130, and as they come through the Castle Triangle again, Hutu beginning to head a bit backwards.
Yeah, wasn't held up really at all there, was he? So, yeah, this 1, 2, 3 is looking good. Which reminds me, actually, just to talk about the history a little bit of the series. I remember that I think Coanda got a 1, 2, and 3 here in the past. It was their first time they did it. So I tell you what, they're going to be stoked to do it again. And yeah, I have to say, I'd love to call a 1, 2, 3 for our team. So yeah, it's been a stunning drive from all three of them, really. They nailed absolutely everything. Great set, great qualifying, and extraordinary race pace as well. So you know they deserve to celebrate once they get on top of that podium.
Of course, that said, Gregor Hutu is not going to leave without a fight, and he's done that already, and I think he will be up for some more right away. Yeah,
again, so Peter not that much quicker than Marcus that lap, 0.6 of a second. But yeah, coming at him at enough pace. Now, what's interesting is Marcus is only 2.9 seconds back from Gregor, so he hasn't got the DRS. He's nowhere near the DRS. That might have been Marcus's saving grace, but as it is, I think once Peter gets there, he should get the better run out of the some of these sort of slow speed areas and be able to use the DRS to get by Jensen and the fresh rubber. So at 38 of 53, I think from Peter's thing, he'll be happy if he can get back to fourth here. So good drive from Jensen as well. Had he pitted one lap earlier on the first stint, I think he'd have still been ahead of Gregor. I don't think Gregor had any way of getting by, and the pace difference has not been that dissimilar between the two. In fact, the last lap, well, it was a couple of tenths slower.
Riding on the gearbox camera of Marcus Jensen, of course we have the big blue-white apex car of Peter Berryman all the way up just now as they enter the corner. Now as they come through this curved stretch right before Spoon Corner, and light tap on the brakes, taking the right line. You do not want to go too far out the curves there. And I think Marcus is holding his line fairly well, and Peter is also following rather well. Not too sure. Nope, no DRS at this point. I think they're not close enough.
Yeah, just down the main straight here. So I think Peter will be quite patient. He knows what he's racing for, and he won't want to let it slip away. 0.2 of a second back. DRS is open. Marcus moves to the middle. Not going to be easy to defend here, especially with slightly less rubber. Tries to do it, but Peter up the inside and through. Completes that move. 3 seconds to catch up Gregor. Last lap he was 0.6 of a second faster, so not going to take too many laps to get there.
Yeah, but great move by Peter Berryman, as cameras have now gone to Kevin Ellis Jr. again. Kevin Ellis currently sits in P9, and oh, it looks like a staggered layout that we have 5, 7, 9 to Apex, and
yeah.
we're sandwiching a couple of poor cars in the middle.
Yeah, I think Kev will be determined to try and get to Michaels and get by him. Whether he's going to be able, got quite a way to catch up the likes of Jensen. You can see him on the mini map where they are right now. You know, Jensen just going through Spoon Curve. These guys just coming out of the hairpin. So it's still possible in the time. Of course, the drop-off is going to be quite severe for like Gregor and Jensen on the one stop as well. So their tyres going to be in a real bad situation where Kevin should be a lot happier. So just whether or not he can get by Michaels and then get onto the back of them.
You
I know he struggled a little.
Alex,
sorry, go on.
Yeah, I'm just glad that no team orders go on here at Apex, and the guys are having great fun here tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm here in the commentary booth with you, so can't give any team orders out. That's the thing. So just looking at the lap times then on the last lap, the 1:33.4 for Gregor, and it was a 1:32.4 for Peter. So that gap has come down over a second. I still think it's a really good choice of strategy for Gregor. Where he was kind of like what, about 12th place, started 16th. You know, he was really struggling to move forward. So the one stop, I think, has panned out and worked for him. Few drivers kind of had issues. Like I say, for us, we had Jamie and Kevin with their issues, and then who else did we have? Pashalis had issues as well. So they've kind of gifted him those extra spots there, but yeah, he won't mind too much. Just looking at Antoine's pace as well, a 1:32.2 the last time by as well, so he's coming at Gregor at 1.2 seconds a lap too. So I feel like Antoine should get there as well, but it might be a bit more of a squeeze.
So we have come to 40 laps of this race, and we do have 13 laps to go before the checkered flag. And I have a feeling that although the gaps are kind of set in stone at the moment, guess positions could still well change as the race goes on. So Peter Berryman still sits in P5, just less than a second behind Gregor, who put right in front of him. As they make their way through this cockpit camera of Peter Berryman, through this hairpin. A little bit off the apex, takes Peter Berryman, and he now comes through this section. The gap between them still sits at 7 point, or rather 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, I'll just see where Peter's really going to gain is going to be on the exits a little bit there, or just runs a little bit wide. But yeah, more than anything, that's where he's able to use the benefit of the fresh tyre. Just carries a tiny little bit more speed, and like I say, able to get on the power a bit earlier. See, actually on the braking as well. Very nice.
Yeah, I think he just took a 130 out of full throttle there, I think.
0.4 of a second. He's got DRS, so he'll deploy that. Drag him right to the back of Gregor. He'll save a bit of ERS this lap as well behind him, I think, and just get ready for what will be a potential move, depending on how well he takes the final chicane. Like I say, he doesn't need to rush anything here. He's not going to catch the Coanda cars or anything like that. You know, he knows 4th place is probably the best he's going to do today. Gregor so consistent, even those poor tyres, lines, car just looks so smooth.
Well, so is Peter. I think Peter's line is as smooth as Bluetooth's.
Yeah, looking into play through Spoon, 0.3 of a second back. Get nice and close up this back straight, using some of the slipstream. Watch for the dirty air through here. Little downshift just to make sure he doesn't push too wide.
Oh, and he comes so close to Hutu, so I think it might be any time soon that he may get to have a move.
0.3 of a second. This is going to be quite close. I think Gregor might be able to defend this one. We'll see.
Along the inside he comes through turn 1, and does Peter Berryman, he's just moved out of P4. Does he hold on to his position? And as he makes his way into the S's, great move there. I think he has just come up to P4 and is up to him now to hold on to to his position.
Yeah, nailed the Casio triangle there, didn't he really? Got the exit that he wanted. Ilkka Papala into the pit, so he's doing a 2-stop. He couldn't manage to hold on to the tyres. After that late pit stop as well, which surprises me because he went so long in the first stint. Right then, 10 laps to go. Antoine Hegelin has got 10 laps to hunt down and try and get by Marcus Jensen and Gregor as well. So 4th and 5th would be good, strong result. Kevin Ellis Jr. slowly coming back to Michaels as well, but I think they're 10 seconds back really from these two one-stoppers, so I don't think they're going to get there. Michaels obviously lapping in the 33, he's only 0.6 of a second faster. He needs to be 1 second a lap faster to catch up with these guys. Really for Kevin, that all come undone with the front wing damage in the first stint. Don't quite know how he got that, but yeah, that's really what set him back behind. He's always been in traffic all through the second stint, and then tucked up behind Steve here with the dirty air. So here comes Hegelin. Jensen just defending the inside. Antoine switches back up the inside. Thank you very much. And Jensen has a little wobble through. I don't know if there was the tiniest bit of like netcode contact that perhaps just upset Hegelin's, Jensen's car there, but yeah, good little cutback from Antoine.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if they actually came into contact as they took turn 1, but that looked like Marcus Jensen going the opposite direction of the exit, and he now sits at wow, 1.5 seconds behind Antoine.
Yeah, nothing worse than when you get a little wiggle just before the S's. Yeah, definitely hoping that Antoine can get up. 3 seconds is the gap, and last lap it was a 132.7 for Hegelin and a 134.2 for Gregor, but of course that did include the Peter overtake in it, so I think that's probably a bit exaggerated, that kind of closure speed, but definitely around about 1 second a lap at the moment.
So it is now up to Antoine to do part 2 of Peter Berryman as he comes through to, I believe, less than 10 laps to go.
Yeah, race is ticking by relatively quickly. So with the overtake on this lap as well, 0.6 of a second gained on Hutu, so 133.6 over a 133 flat, which you can obviously see on our timing tower as well.
Oh, we have a tower?
Yeah, we have a timing tower.
Kevin Ellis Jr. still on P9, sorry Alex.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, let's jump on board with Kev for a little bit, just see how he's doing.
He's doing fine, don't worry. Now his gap behind us, Stephen Michaels sits at 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds. And their last time by was, I believe, with just 0.2 seconds of difference, both of their lap times.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out what these guys need to catch up with Jensen. It's about 1.2 seconds a lap now, so definitely that one's definitely out. So it is just going to be a fight between themselves. Also, I think Kev will be pretty happy with this. He's up 5 spots. You know, he didn't have the best qualifier. It's one of the best races Steve Michaels has had for a little while. So, you know, kudos to him, up in 8th place. He'll be happy with that.
As we just observe the magnificent how Kevin finesses his car through Fiestas. So I do notice he's taking a slight bit more aggressive line through Fiestas compared to Peter Berryman. But of course that serves him well, judging by his race performance.
It's funny actually, because just to give you a tiny little bit of insight as well, is I know there was a lot of talk amongst the drivers on our sort of chat through the week as well about the S's and the lines to take and whatnot. And I have to say, there's been a problem with Kevin's VRS subscription this week. It's literally said that he's run out when we bought all of the team licenses at exactly the same time, and everybody else is still fine. And yeah, he couldn't quite get hold of the data to sort of see where he was differing through the S's, and it was definitely an area that he knew he needed to work on. So yeah, a little bit of insight there, a bit of unfortunateness with the preparation on Kevin's part with his VRS subscription. But it just goes to show that the drivers really do study each other's data to try and see if they can you know, make up losses in different areas. And you know, like Peter will check Kevin's laps to make sure he's not losing any time in different sectors as well. And that's literally how they improve, just to try and get at the maximum out of the car and the settings that they've got.
Oh, looky here, closing up the gap with Gregor, who has now gone down to P5. So gap between them sits at 0.3 of a second. A bit of a loose exit by Antoine through the Casio, and I'm not, yep, it happened.
Standard stuff, standard stuff.
Standard stuff. But it serves him well, so it works for him, and he's fast as ever.
Yeah, Hegelin very more aggressive on the ERS deploy coming out of that. So close coming out of Spoon. Will he think about a move into 130R? I mean, got a lot of slipstream, could potentially do it, but oh,
it's gonna be Gregor. Yes, this is it, to the inside of 130R he comes, and he now goes up to P5, cleaning off a move against the Gregor, and there he goes. With his style of driving, he's made it happen, and there, P5 for him.
Yeah, good overtake. Gregor not really fighting it. You could see he got off of the ERS deploy. The light started flashing. Yeah, knew there was no real point. He was going to get him coming out of the chicane as well. So yeah, Hegelin up and into 5th place. So 4th and 5th for the Apex lads today. Good result, I think.
Yeah, well, we still have 6 laps to go, you know, Alex. So it still could be anyone's race at this point, barring the fact that, of course, the Coinder have sealed the podium for themselves.
Yeah, a good solid drive. I mean, Peter, I know looking at the sort of the time difference, Peter 15 seconds off of Mitchell. I mean, I know Peter well enough to know that he'll look at that and scratch his head a little bit and think, I had a pretty good race. There were a couple of little things that didn't go my way. I lost a few seconds here, a few seconds there, but 15 seconds. I know Pete really, you know, obviously wants to beat these guys. You know, that's the thing. And he certainly doesn't want to be sort of in excess of 15 seconds from them at the end of it as well. So, yeah, feel like he'll be happy with 4th, but he'll also be disappointed with the gap that he's got to Mitchell. But I have to say, Mitchell has drove phenomenal. I mean, look at, he's 5 seconds clear now off of Martin as well. So he's been really strong today. And sometimes, you know, drivers just have their favourite circuits where they just excel, and maybe this is one that Mitchell really is just flying on.
Well, I'm pretty sure his rallycross skills in real life translates well to a circuit like Suzuka on iRacing, low grip and stuff.
4 laps to go then for Kevin Ellis Jr. He's into the DRS zone. Can he close up to Steve Michaels to make this move and get himself up and into 8th place? To say, once again, the extra 6 seconds that he lost in the pits, that would put him right around Jensen and Gregor right now as well. So, you know, he can look at that and think, damn, there was 6th place, definitely easy on for me today. Just that little bit of wing damage. And again, I talked about it earlier on in the race. He was forced to take that wing change. There was nothing wrong with his pace, but just one of those little niggly things with iRacing where you just want to say, no, don't repair me car. Send me straight back out, please. And it's just not an option. Something that they've got to add to the sim, I would think. Ever so frustrating when you're forced to do these things.
Well, that said, it does consume a bit more fuel, and the drag coefficient does go up a bit when you have this damaged front wing. So because this is, of course, an aero-reliant car above all else. So, well, I mean, despite all of that, Peter Berryman has done a great job tonight to make himself all the way up to P4, to hold on to perhaps against where he started from earlier today.
Yeah, like I say, he will be happy with that. And so I'm more stoked for Antoine getting a top 5 again, because he's had such poor luck in the last 4 or 5 meetings as well. So see him have a nice solid race. I'm really, really happy. I have to say, probably one of the most underrated drivers on the grid is Antoine as well. He just has this natural ability to be able to jump in and go fast, and I think he proved that last weekend at the Expo as well. The great work that he did in our Mercedes in the GT500, taking it from like 21st to 11th or something like that. Well, I think he sneaked it into the top 10 at one point until yours truly went and bailed and ruined it. But that's another story. But and also very, very quick at the JCL, winning the hot lap challenge at the JCL hot lap in the Radical. So yeah. Such a quick driver, seems to be able to just jump in and just go super fast.
I'm glad you guys had fun during the Sim Racing Expo. I heard that the Expo this year was a bit different from previous years in that things were actually done properly this time.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was done much different from last year. Last year was still pretty well organised. But there was certainly a lot more people there this year, a lot more exhibitors, and a lot more, a lot more fans and everything. So it was a lot better. And I think, year on year it is getting better. Oh, Kevin just running a little bit wide over the curb. He was 3/10 back. He's lost a little bit of time, but he's as close as he's been. But yeah, it was definitely a lot better. I think we've got about. Oh! Well.
Oh no.
That's kind of yeah, that's kind of it then, I think, for Kev. He's just going to have to hold fire there. He's got Williams coming up behind him, who's on fresher rubber as well, 3.4 seconds back. So trying to put the pressure on Michaels, has a little slip. Yeah, never mind, Kev. 9th is a good result from where you were on the grid, mate, up 5 spots, and with that wing issues that you had too.
Close shave by Kevin Ellis. Could have been just a straight barrel roll into the tire barriers. Yeah,
indeed. Yeah, got out of it really, really quickly. But yeah, so I was saying, we've got about 8 or 9 videos to. Oh, another one! Don't do it, Kev! Don't do it! That we're going to release in the next few days. So what we got up to there, a load of interviews that we did and things like that, things that we tried and stuff like that. So yeah, watch this space for that. And then of course, we announced our BenQ sponsorship over that weekend as well, and we're going to be reviewing a couple of the monitors. I think the first ones go out on the 6th of October. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. What the team thought of it at the Expo. We were using the 35-inch ultra wide curved screens there, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then yeah, I think from a single screen user, Adam Barth is also going to sort of do it on a productivity basis as well. So yeah, loads of videos coming out, and I've got a 4-screen setup review coming out as well, which will be in November.
Oh, that's great to hear. With, I think 3 laps of racing to go.
Well, not even that really. 1.5. 1.5, I would say. Yeah, lap 52 of 53. The lead has just crossed the line as well, does Jeong. So we are on to the... Once they cross the line, this will be the final lap of the race.
Hold it together, boys. Final lap of 1.5 hours of racing. It was great running by the Apex guys. Of course, everyone else on the grid as well.
Yeah, top 3 need a big shout out, because I tell you what, they've been phenomenal today, and I'm not going to sort of beat around the bush, sort of go, oh, you know, could have been there. We absolutely couldn't. They were just dominant this weekend. The last, a few meetings, we've really given them a run for their money, and we could have had some wins and things like that. But yeah, here they have been so good, and they have been good round here for the last few years as well. And they're just they continue to show what they're made of around here. Very, very strong.
I'm just staring at the bright pink rims of Peter Berryman. I think it's added like 600 more horsepower to his car.
Well, yeah, certainly he'll think it's worth a couple of tenths of a second. But yeah, we obviously all run exactly the same livery, apart from I think the wing mirrors, and there's a couple of little bits on the nose cone and the rear wing that are slightly color coded. So yeah, the drivers like him, Antoine, and a few others like I Run Blue, just to sort of distinguish ourselves a little bit. But I think we got a new livery in the works for 2018. Right, we need to give a big shout out to this man, because what a great victory from him. Mitchell de Jong wins. Kroenke in 2nd place. Backham in 3rd. Great race from Backham, right on the tail of his teammate there. He'll be happy. But yeah, our top driver comes across in 4th place. Peter Berryman, what a fantastic race from him too. Had to work for it a little bit. But yeah, Antoine Hegelin as well, really, really strong. Great performance. This is pretty close for 6th and 7th. All of a sudden, Jensen on Hutu. Don't quite know what happened to Hutu on the final lap. But he holds on. Steve Michaels, he was close to him, but not quite there. And Kevin holds on to his 9th. Like I say, that wing change, he'd definitely have had Gregor and Jensen. Top 10 was rounded out by David Williams. So great drive from David. Last one on his Oculus. So yeah. Well, mate, first sort of team World Championship Series race. Like I say, a bit different, a bit casual.
Perhaps a little bit more casual. At the same time, I think competition has gone to another level. Oh, what?
Go on, Antoine.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, burnouts there, Antoine. Great job. Yeah, I was saying. Because competition here is at the next level, because you have these Formula 1 cars that you need to have the attention to detail that you don't really have to have for some other cars in the service.
Right, unfortunately we haven't got any time for any interviews or anything today. I've literally got to jump straight off here, so apologies, I'm going to have to kind of wrap up the stream very, very quickly. But let's take a quick look at the final race results here. So yeah, Mitchell de Jong takes it by 4.2 seconds from his teammate Martin Kroenke, who was just 1 second ahead of Mac Backham as well. So great 1-2-3 for Coanda. Congratulations to those guys, Peter Berryman and Antoine Hegelin. 4th and 5th place for Apex Racing. And it's Team Redline's Gregor Hutu in 6th, Marcus Jensen for Burst Esports, Stephen Michaels and Kevin Ellis Jr. Dave Williams rounded out the top 10, like I said. Then it was Yao Vaz with his quirky connection that he's had. Josh Rogers, don't really know what happened to Josh, because he was doing a one-stop as well, I thought, and way back. So I don't know if that was a speeding penalty that he perhaps had too. But yeah, he finished just ahead of Ricardo Orozco. 13th. Then Dion Verges in 14th, David Corpse 15th, Ilka Hapala. So Orion Racing team, Orion Race team there. 3 cars altogether. Good job for them. Ballas Remenick in 17th. Then Paul Ilbrink was the first of our retirees. 9 laps down in 18th place for a new retired there as well. Jamie Fluke got 19th, so he'll get some points for that. But yeah, exited in rather great fashion, coming off of the Casio Triangle. And then Pashless Jurgis that just had some sort of problem in the pit stop. I'm not really sure quite what that was. Then Tommy Ostergaard 21st, really involved in something on the opening laps that perhaps damaged the car. And Michael Partington retired on what I'm guessing was lap 1 of the race. All right, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. I appreciate jumping in and covering. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into as well. And Michael, for keeping the chat busy. Wow, mate. Just go for it. But yeah, no, I appreciate all the questions and following on that one. We're back next week, I believe. I need to check this. Let me just check before I say this, because I know they were almost back to back now for a little while. Bring the schedule up. Yeah, we are literally back next week, which is Spa. So 44 laps around Spa. Which is the penultimate round of the season, and then the guys have got a couple of weeks break before they hit Kota. So yeah, we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll sort the Facebook Live issues out by then, and yeah, we'll see you then. But yep, thanks very much, Wihan Chan, and yeah, I'll catch you again.